Welcome back, everybody. You're looking at the Central Regional bracket for the games that will be played on the campus of Washburn in Topeka. The Dragons are the 2 seed. They will face Fort Hays State coming up on Saturday at 2:30. You'll see a lot of familiar teams in there. There's 5 out of the NSIC: Minot, Concordia St. Paul, the Dragons, Winona, and Southwest State. We told you the league was good. We've been hammering it for the last couple months with our usual Tuesday guest who joins us a bit earlier than normal because the Dragons are getting set to hit the road coming up on Thursday. It's great to see Tim Bergstraser. We gave him a little bit of time after celebrating an NSIC championship. You've been telling me for 2 months how good the league is. That bracket, is that the perfect example of what you've been saying to me for the last couple months?
Yeah, it's ridiculous, ain't it? I mean, it just shows it how it is every single year, and there could have been a 6th
Yeah.
NSIC team in there. I mean, it's just how it goes, and there was a quote-unquote upset in the MIAA, so they got that automatic bid, and it, in a way, bumped out an NSIC school. So it just shows, again, how hard it is to get in there, but at the same time, just how tough our league is. And, I mean, anybody would say it is consistent, but it's a great representation of how high of a level basketball that we have in NSIC. So it's like I said before, we never want to play an NSIC opponent in that first round, but I think anybody would just be grateful to see their name pop up on that screen.
Tell me about that. You had a watch party on Saturday night. I know you guys knew you were in. There was no drama about that, but what was that moment like on Sunday when actually you got to see who you're playing?
Yeah, it was great. And we went to B-Dubs as a group and had that selection show, and I made sure the guys understood and veterans understand, but even just the freshmen and the newcomers of our program, it's a very special deal when you see your name pop up on that screen, because especially in our region, and I'm learning that just all D2 across the board is getting better and better, and just everybody has players. But when you see your name pop up in our region, that's a big deal. So I made sure our guys don't just brush that off and just think nothing of it. Like, understand, like, that's very important to what we're doing and to our program. And a lot of people in their basketball careers never get that opportunity or that experience. So it's just up to us to make sure we really appreciate what we've done this season at the end of the year to close it out the way we have, and just to put ourselves in a position to compete in the national tournament.
Well,
So, I mean, we got a very humble group that understands that.
we had Carson on the show, Tim, on Thursday, after you guys won, and we've been talking obviously about him for the last 2 months as well. But to have that kind of performance in that kind of venue and an event, I mean, just give me your. It's a week removed now. Thoughts of what he did to be MVP of the NSIC tournament.
Yeah, it's he's one of a kind. We'll just say that. That's I continue to say it. I'm running out of ways to say just how special of a human being that he is, and just who he is as a person is incredible. He's a very well polished young man that just knows how to handle himself. He doesn't get too high or too low, and he's playing unreal. I mean, that's the first freshman ever to win tournament
Yeah.
MVP in the NSIC. So I didn't know that until after the fact, but I mean, yeah, he's just so locked in, and I think even just a handful of our younger guys and older guys on our team just said that. I mean, he's just always just right here, just steady as can be. He's very consistent in his preparation, and he's treating everything all the same, and that's how it should be. And we preach that all the time too. So, but yeah, to see what he did in that championship game, especially near the end, because it was a neck and neck battle,
Yeah.
back and forth. And then he just took over, and he was hitting some ridiculous shots. I mean, he hit the one that was about he had a bucket before that, and then he hit like one 5 feet behind the arc on top of the key early in the shot
Yep.
clock. And I was down in my coach's stance, and I'm just sitting there smirking like, man, this dude's special. So he's just it's impressive to see a freshman, because you never know in the NSIC tournament,
Yep.
especially in the first game. Never had that experience, never been to the Pentagon. You never know what to expect. Is there going to have a little bit of a deer in the headlights look or not? But I mean, he just took it and ran with it. So, I mean, it's just impressive on what he's doing so far.
Well, you said in the post game with him that you never discourage him from shooting. So when he went out on that run, like it was an 11-0 run by himself, you mentioned you were smirking. I mean, are you even coaching that, or are you just watching the game?
Hey, man, we let players play. We have a little bit of structure to what we do, trust me. But we do try to recruit guys that know how to get a bucket. That makes coaching a little more easier if
Yeah.
they do it understanding it. But we want these guys to have that freedom, and we tell them that in the recruitment process. And in the beginning of that game, he wasn't hitting as many shots as he would have liked, and we could all tell that. But we told, like, the shots that he was taking were the shots we thought he was going to be able to get. And I just grabbed. I was like, "Hey man, like those are great looks. Like stop getting so worked up. Like go make the next play. I want you to shoot 10 more times. I don't care." And I mean, he just looked at me square in the eye and said, "Yes, sir." And he just went out and did what he did. So it's yeah, I'm never gonna tell him not to shoot. I might tell him just every once in a while, like understand the flow of the game,
Yeah.
like, whether it's a quick shot or not. But I mean, I continue to tell him and a lot of guys on our team, just like if you got to play, like be a player. I want you to play freely. I don't want you overthinking things and looking over at us on the sideline. I think that's what makes us a little more dangerous when the guys are just playing with freedom.
Can you give us an update on Jacob Beninga? I know he went down early in the semifinal game. You've had a week off, which maybe is a good thing for what he's got. And what's his status for potentially playing on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean he wasn't 100% in
Yeah,
general
right.
that weekend, but I mean it's just unfortunate because he was playing like old cop. Like
Yeah.
he even defensively, like he was moving really well, and he admitted that too. But and then just what he played 52 seconds, and then he just essentially rolled his ankle. We're taking it day to day, and you know I'm optimistic he'll be able to play. But again, it's I hate to say that I'm kind of used to this this year because it's happened a handful of
Yes.
times. But when he got dropped in the game, the way that he hit the ground in pain, like it worried me right away. But
Yeah.
thankfully, it's not the thing that he was dealing with from before. So it's a rolled ankle, and you know again, time will tell. I'm really just I'm waiting day to day to hear from our trainer, and we're going with that.
You become best friends with the trainer this year, right?
Yeah, yeah, we have an outstanding training staff. Let me tell you. I mean, Keith Weidrich and now Shannon. She's worked with us a little bit here lately, but yeah, I understand how valuable they are to what we
Yeah.
do because especially what we put them through in this last few years.
All right, give us the lowdown. It's Fort Hays State. Mentioned this team out of the MIAA. They went on a bit of a run too to upset to get to their championship. What do you know about this matchup you're going to have with this team on Saturday?
Yeah, 4 days. They're incredible winning tradition. They're used to being in the national tournament. They've played in a ton of big games. I've known them ever since I've been in college coaching. I mean, going on year 10 now. So I mean, they know what to expect when it comes to tourney time. And with that coach, I mean, he's very very disciplined in what they do. They don't make a ton of mistakes. They have a lefty point guard. If I pronounce it right, it's Hammocky. It ain't no secret that he could really fill it up, and he's one of those guys that could hit a ton of tough shots and put pressure on the defense. And then just who Fort Hays State is. I mean, how they've always been wired is they guard. They're big, they're physical, they're gonna do what they can to force us into tough shots. So they're gonna make it a grinder game, and you know we're just gonna like no matter who the heck we're playing when it comes to tournament time, we got to be ready to play and play tough, play physical, and just be ready for anything. Because if you're not ready, your season's done.
The Captain Obvious question I could ask is: there's a real good chance there could be 3 NSIC teams in the region semis here, and there's going to be 2 at least because there's 2 playing each other.
Yeah, it's a great chance, and it's a kind of going into what it was for the NSIC tournament. You
Yeah.
can flip a coin on any section, and you know we'll see because it's any team in this regional central region they could win it, and I think a lot of us are playing really good basketball, and we all know how it goes. It's a reset. You
Yeah.
know what we did in the NSIC tournament. And it's no disrespect to our process, but it's irrelevant for what we're trying to do here going into the tournament because that phase is over. We have a new segment to worry about now, and it's yeah. I always say it when we're not playing. I'm going to enjoy as a spectator watching the other teams because it's just good high level basketball, and you just got to appreciate it.
Last thing before I let you go, who you on the bus? What do you do? Now you got a little bit of a bus trip here. So what are your plans? Are you watching film? Are you zoned out? What do you got planned for the bus trip?
I'll chop it up. You know, we'll stop midway for a practice, so that'll be nice. Just so it's not I think it's like a 9 hour trip for us on a bus, which I mean we've had worse. But no, I'll have the iPad and I'll watch a little bit of Netflix or something. I'll do a good amount of recruiting on the phone, especially now that it's portal season.
Yeah.
High school are getting into their playoff season, and you know that next phase of recruitment is about to begin. So. And then I can't deny it. I'll probably throw my head back and try to take a nap. It's I do a little bit of those things. I think that'll get us to where we're going. But I enjoy the bus. I really don't mind it at all. But it's kind of a nice way just to zone out a little bit. But you can still get some work done on there.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for being flexible today. Good luck, safe travels to Kansas, and hopefully we're talking this time next week. Okay.
Likewise, man. Appreciate it.
Tim Bergstraser joining us each and every Tuesday. Dragon men's basketball head coach, MSUM and Fort Hays State. They play Saturday at 2:30 in Topeka. They win that, and they will play the winner of another NSIC matchup with Winona and Southwest State. You see the Dragons. Hopefully we're going to get a chance to visit with Coach Merkin here. The Beavers, Minot State coming up later this week. They've got Concordia St. Paul. That's the third time those schools have played. St. Paul won them both. And then the other matchup is Washburn and Harding. Washburn, of course, is the host, the Ichabods, as they will be the tournament hosts, and they'll get things going there at 5:30 coming up on Saturday. We'll break. We come back. Our resident Dragon, Mike McFeely, will join us about seeing history in person as the Spuds captured a state hockey championship. That much more. We come back on a busy Tuesday edition of Hot Mike, which returns just after this.